Australian ground frog. The Australian ground frog, Limnodimastidae. One of these species are critically endangered, 2 are endangered, and 2 are vulnerable. Many of the Australian ground frogs have earth tone colours such as brown, greenish, tan, or grey. They often have a pattern of spots, blotches, or other patterns that camouflage them against the dirt and plants of the ground. Their bellies are often lighter coloured, occasionally faint patterns on the throat, and their size is around 22 to 108 millimetres. The Australian ground frog can be found in a range of areas such as Tasmania, Victoria, New South Wales, Queensland, and etc. They can also be found in a variety of habitats from dry to wet tropics, and they can deal with summer or winter peaks in rainfall in all vegetation types found in these climates. The Australian ground frogs suffer with many threats, including of pollution, and since they spend part of their life in water, their moist skin is especially sensitive to pollution. They also are threatened by many introduced fish species, including the black minnows. They have been known to eat frog eggs and tadpoles. They are also suffering due to habitat loss, and also the poisonous cane toad which was introduced. And there is also a deadly frog disease called frog chytrid fungus. They prey on various invertebrates, catching them with a flick of their tongues or biting them. They tend to hunt at night, but some only hunt after heavy rains to soak the ground. Some of the species, such as the barbar frog tadpoles, don't need to look for food, as they have nutritious yolk left over from the egg and stays as a part of their bodies. They are either nocturnal or crepuscular. This is due to them not liking air which is too dry, and at night it often gets moisture as the temperature cools. Adding on that, some of the Australian ground frogs won't venture out even at night time during the dry periods. These dry periods happen at least once a year and can last several months. The Australian ground frog bury themselves underground to prevent drying out and hides from potential predators. They dig down by swishing their powerful hind limbs. They need to keep their skin moist to breathe. Although they can breathe through their nose and lungs, most of the oxygen they get is from their skin, and if it dries out, they can no longer breathe through it and they suffocate. For most of the burrowing Australian ground frogs, their mating season is when the spring rain begins, and is often all done in a few weeks. When mating season starts, the male starts to call out at dusk or at night, usually at ponds, marshes or streams, but occasionally on land. Their call attracts females and acts as a deterrent to other males invading their space. The eggs in this family are often laid in jelly-coated eggs in water in a foamy nest. The female often makes the foam by flailing their feet and whipping the eggs and mucus surrounding them. When the eggs hatch into tadpoles, they either swim out or stay in the foam until they are froglets.